Good morning. A new IRS Amnesty deadline is looming, and U.S. citizens could face some major penalties on their undisclosed offshore account balances. So what does that deadline mean for you? Well, joining me now with more is Kevin Thorn, the managing partner of the Thorn Law Group. Welcome back, Kevin.
Hey, how are you, Angela?
I'm good. Great to see you again. This is important information. Talk about these deadlines and what that really means.
Yeah, there's a lot happening over at the IRS. The IRS Offshore Amnesty program has been going on for about 6 years, but just a couple of months ago they issued a new program that talks about offshore accounts for U.S. persons living within the U.S. and the certain incentives that are available for them and getting discounts on the penalties if they decide to come forward.
So which banks are really involved in this?
Well, there's a lot of banks from all different countries. Most of the banks being looked at right now are from Switzerland. So we're talking about UBS, Credit Suisse, and there's a lot of banks that haven't even been disclosed yet where the government has investigations pending.
So this could really be frightening, especially if you've got these offshore accounts and you haven't reported it. How much could you really stand to lose? I mean, just looking at the real picture.
Well, obviously every factual situation is different. Every person has an individual situation that has certain factors that would affect the penalty different ways. But in general, you're looking at a 27.5% penalty for an undisclosed offshore account. But these banks that are going to be under investigation in the near future, of which we don't know some of the names, the penalties could be as much as 50% of the account balance during any year.
50%? Like
yes,
50%?
50%. Like if you had $200,000, you lose $100,000 right off the bat.
Of the entire balance?
Of the entire balance,
okay,
yes.
That is crazy. That's very, very serious. All right, so the deadline is coming up next month.
That's correct.
If somebody misses the deadline, do they just say, okay, well, you know what, maybe I'll get caught, maybe not? Or can you still do something after the deadline?
Well, there's a deadline, and it's kind of like this moving target where you need to disclose your accounts, come back into compliance, file your back tax returns, your foreign bank account reporting forms. But yes, to answer your question, if you actually come in contact someone like myself, there's some option available. And the key is, and this is the most important part, is that you contact the government first before they find you. So you want to contact the government before you receive a letter from the Department of Justice or the IRS.
Now, why is that? Why is that the key?
Well, once they open an investigation into you, now you're not actually disclosing your information voluntarily. You're keeping it to yourself. The government wants to see you taking the first step.
Because if not, the penalty is going to be a lot greater.
Yes, 50%.
Phew, goodness gracious. It's hard to even wrap my brain around that. So if someone has come to you and they've said, all right, I just got this letter from the IRS. I did miss the deadline. I did not disclose everything. Then what happens? Can you maybe help them not have to pay quite so much?
Well, I can. I mean, like I said, every factual situation is different, but I'd have to have them come in or talk with them on the phone to see exactly what the facts of their particular situation. Are they someone that's living overseas for 5 or 10 years? Are they someone that lives in the U.S.? Are they someone that inherited money? Those types of examples carry different penalties.
But I've got to imagine some people are just afraid. They have maybe for years not reported the money, and they're thinking, okay, I know it's before the deadline, but I'm afraid of what's going to happen if I come forward. What are you going to tell them right now? What should they do?
Well, first of all, it's understandable that they're afraid. Anytime the government or the IRS or the Department of Justice is involved in this situation, people get a little bit nervous.
To their core.
Right. I mean, that's an understatement. But I don't think I'm as scary as them. So if you call someone like myself or me specifically, we can help you out. We can give you options. There's always options available. And I think the worst thing to do is not to come forward and not disclose your offshore account.
I would definitely call you because, as you said, you need to call a professional, someone who knows how to work around all of this and to make it not quite as scary. They won't have to lose quite as much as they think they will if they do it before the deadline.
That's true, yes, before the deadline. I mean, that's the most important thing, and not to wait to contact someone like myself, a professional that does tax litigation, is the key point. And as soon as possible is also important because every day more banks are coming under investigation by the Department of Justice.
That is the key.
That's true.
That is the key. Kevin Thorn, Thorn Law Group, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I just pray for all these people that they call you now. We'll be back with more Let's Talk Live right after this.